What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of Rival Banter. I'm your host, Luke, or Hoagie. Joining me, as always, the esteemed Seth, or Bookish Pappy. Seth, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm so well. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. You had yourself an eventful weekend. Um, going to watch a little, uh, what is it called? Non-esport or something like that?
It's one of the world's oldest sports called soccer,
Mm-hmm.
or football,
And it was a
in most.
LAN tournament, right? Not online.
Yeah, it's hard to do. It's a little hard to do, over the webs. But
Nice.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. We went to a Charlotte FC game. I'm a pretty recent soccer fan. Luke knows I didn't grow up watching a lot of sports. I played some, and I wasn't good at them. But I've kind of circled back around. Now I can just be like a large and growing larger man who just sits on the couch or goes in the stands and just fans out. So it was my first time like sitting in the supporter section for a team. Just kind of getting nuts, getting beer thrown on me and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun.
Wait, so
That sounds bad, but it couldn't recommend it enough. It was a lot of fun.
when you say supporter section, was it like a specific like super fan section or?
Yeah, so like behind, it's I don't know if it's like that every time, but it's pretty much like you start off behind the goal, and this time at least it was the like the home side goal during the first half.
Mm-hmm.
No, was it other way around? I think. Whatever it was. So we were like pretty much you're just like behind one of the goals, and so you can boo the shit out of the the opposing keeper, and then whenever your guys in the goal, you're just that much closer to him. You can cheer him on, that kind of thing.
Did you break out two nips during any free kicks?
Some guys did. I saw that. And whatever. It was cool. Um, they made the mistake, I feel like, of giving out foam goalie hands before the match. Like that was like the entry gift or whatever, with
Mm-hmm.
like Charlotte FC, sponsored by Bojangles goalie hands, and it had
Of
like the
course.
backside was a brick wall. It's like no goal. The front side was like the go hand. And a lot of people, after like some like fouls weren't being called and stuff
Oh,
like that
I
on
thought you were gonna say
our
after
guys.
some beverages.
Oh, well, probably that too. But lots of people started ripping the fingers off, and they only left one, and it was the middle one, and it was just sticking up real high. And
Mm.
so lots of people were either pinning them back or doing that. I'm like, it's probably maybe the last time they'll do that for a while. Who knows?
I wonder how Mr. Bojangles felt about that. Brought to you by Bojangles,
Just
baby.
yeah, all right, just two of these.
Take
It
two
was
and
pretty
call
cool.
me in the morning, doctor. Nah, dude, soccer. I've actually never been to a live soccer game. I've been to a live basically everything else game, but never a live soccer game. But the I know the crowds can get pretty raucous, and even like MLS, I feel like has a pretty good like engaged fan base. So
Yeah, and I think it's only getting better and better too. They've been growing a lot over the last few years, from what I understand. So,
and Charlotte's pretty
yeah,
new, right? Like they've only been around for a couple years.
yeah, 2022. I think this is the third. And I don't know exactly how the seasons work. It's either the third or the fourth season. It's it's 2025 now, so 3 years, but whatever. I think it's 2022. But yeah, very very recent team. I think them and then Austin, another team I follow. They're in the Western Conference. They I think are this from the same year. Some teams have been around forever. Some teams are a lot newer.
Hmm, nice. Well, let me tell you about what I've been doing, Seth.
What have you been doing?
So I'm working from home now, and I didn't realize like how much I've kind of missed being in the office for a multitude of reasons. Like number one, I like being around people. Working in esports was fun. Like I worked around a bunch of people my age who had the same interests as me. But the one thing that I didn't realize how much I missed was just being forced to move around. And you don't work from home, right? You work at a school, like you're walking around all day, right? So um, when you work from home, it's just me to the fridge. I take Link outside every, a couple times a day maybe. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sedentary, right? Well, so I bought
Yeah,
myself.
well, there's a cat.
Yeah, here's Edgar. So yeah, I'm pretty sedentary, right? And I had a walking pad for a while, and I started breaking that thing out, and ended up breaking that. and had to get myself a new one. But I got myself MLB The Show, and I got it for free from where I work because we got some hookups over at Sony. Shout out.
Hell yeah.
So, because I wasn't about to pay $70 for it, but I've been playing like the career mode, right? And I've been walking on my walking pad while I play the career mode, and I'm like, when I'm on base, I'm jogging on the walking pad. I like crank up the speed.
Oh, you see, it's
I'm
like a little
running.
AR that
I'm
you
running
got
the.
going
I'm
on.
running the bases while I'm running the bases. Just getting that blood run. And dude, it's crazy. I'm knocking out like 45 minutes an hour on the treadmill, like walking and jogging, while I'm playing a 5-game series on the show. Like, so just
Yeah,
getting
that's
the
really not a
body
bad
moving.
idea.
I tried
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
Rivals on it. Did not work, dude. Too much going on. Entirely
that'd
too
be a
much
little.
going on.
I could see that being a little intense, yeah. But no, that sounds pretty cool. I've thought about doing that. I just like have I don't know. I definitely don't have the space upstairs. And plus the children, you got to think about the children.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, as long as I can stash it somewhere. I know they make them super tiny now.
Yeah, I can like slide mine under the couch and stuff, so it's like real thin. I get nervous though too, man, because like there's no guard or anything. So like when the cat or the dog's like running around behind it, I'm like, dude, they're gonna get sucked up in it. And just my dog's gonna get launched in the air. But dude, I highly recommend it. Like if you find yourself being like, man, I want to like move my body a little bit more, but I don't want to leave my house. Yeah, it's a great way to just kind of reclaim some of your time, especially if you've just got some low stakes games like MLB The Show you want to play.
Cool.
All right, man. Well, let's jump into the show and talk about our weekend rivals. So, tell me, Seth, what'd you get up to in game this week? And I'm gonna text Lauren back real quick. She's actually in North Carolina right now. So
North Kakalaki. Yeah. So I had a pretty good week in rivals. I've been, I don't know if I would call it on a win streak, but I've climbed back up from wherever I was last week. I forget. I know I was in mid plat at some point. I'm back up. I got back to Diamond 2. I'm now Diamond 1 with a little bit of change to spare. So I know I've got 2 whole days to try to make my way into GM3, just to say that I got there just in time to get knocked back down, not to bronze or whatever it's going to be, or silver.
Yeah, if you're a GM though, that's going to be gold for you. So
I guess so. Yeah, I haven't done the math. You know me. I teach English, but I'm excited. I've of course been playing other stuff too, so I'm only really playing a few matches a day, which again I feel like pretty like kind of helps. Like I'm not grinding, just sitting there miserable in losing streaks or whatever. If I lose 1 or 2, I'm just getting off. And I'll just call it quits. Or if I feel the energy running low, the vibe's not there, just jump off. Playing a lot of mag more. I just made I always forget, like between Knight and Centurion, just made Captain on Mag. I'm working on my Lords for I'm about halfway through Centurion to Lord on Thing and Mantis and Thor. So making some progress, yeah, so not too busy, but definitely a lot kind of going on. I'm definitely looking forward to all the stuff and the things that we're going to be talking about here soon. But what about you?
Yeah, basically my whole week has just been about logging on and playing 3 games a day to get through my pickup bundle, because I finally purchased it. Got my costume token today, bought my Guardians of the Galaxy skin for Mantis. I was trying to decide between that and my Luna Snow skin, but I've been playing a lot more Mantis than I have been Luna Snow. So, and plus there's a sick Luna Snow skin in the Battle Pass for next season, so I'm gonna go after that skin, and there's nothing really cool for Mantis in the next season pass. So yeah, almost to the Lord on Mantis. Been grinding that out too. So and honestly, man, with the changes and knowing I'm gonna get bumped down 9 divisions, we'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But I've kind of been wondering, like, do I really want to spend these last couple days grinding? Because those last couple days of a season always kind of suck in ranked in these games, because it's always like everybody's kind of grinding for that last little bit. So I'm like, do I really want to get on? I have my Diamond 2 peak, and I feel like I'm okay with that. I'm going to get knocked back down to bronze anyway, so I'll just start over in season 2. Probably going to switch to being a tank main anyway, go back to my old roots like I was in Overwatch. So
Yeah, baby.
So I think I'm just going to settle out, just play quick play the rest of the way through, and pick it back up in season 2 for ranked. But yeah, mostly just quick playing my way through my pickup bundle. Really, I mean, honestly, great job by NetEase just to figure out a way to get us power users to continue to be engaged with this game while we were just in the season 2 waiting room.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I had a kid. It was kind of funny to watch. So we play at school, and like so our seasons are done pretty much. We're on our last week of practice, and one of our rivals guys is sitting there, and I mean he's on this PC like yelling at this computer at Steam for like an hour, and I'm like I'm over there playing Rivals myself, coaching. And I'm, for the listeners out there, I'm doing air quotes right now when I say coaching. So I'm there, I'm just kind of playing Rivals while the kids are playing their video games. And I'm assuming that he's having trouble getting into the game or like getting the game to work. But some kids are kind of helping him out between their matches. They're playing like Smash and stuff like that. And I kind of figure out, I'm like, so what is the problem? And he's like, it won't let me buy the pickup bundle. And I'm like, you've been spending an hour of your time trying to purchase this pickup bundle for $2.99 on the school PC. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And nothing's working, nothing. And everybody's like, he's getting so frustrated. And other kids are like, well, we tried to help, but we don't know, man. They don't give a shit. Cause it's like, it's a $2.99 pickup bundle. Like, I was like, dude, why don't you just play the game? And you buy the pickup bundle another time. And he's like, well, I want to buy it now. And I'm like, well, all right. And so eventually I'm like, there may be like restrictions on the PC. I have no idea. Because that's not my business. But like, there might be restrictions on the PC to keep you from like using online marketplaces or something like that. So let's just go with that. And you buy the pickup bundle. I was like, you're getting a Steam Deck within days, right? Why don't you just buy it on your personal Steam Deck when the time comes? You got the currency in there, just go. And eventually, all right. And I think he got 30 minutes worth of game time in. But like, I can't imagine, man. Like, just buy the pickup bundle some other time, some way. You can probably log into Steam on your phone and buy the fucking pickup bundle. You know what I mean? But it was kind of funny to watch and kind of listen to the situation play out. We'll go with that.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be like raging at like a teammate or something, but yeah.
No, not at all. It was just raging at Steam, and then I was like, well, I don't honestly know if that's a Steam issue. I think that's just a we don't need to do it right now issue. That's what a lot of teaching is, to be honest. Whatever.
Well, for the uninitiated guys, this is Rival Banter. This is a weekly podcast where we talk about all things Marvel Rivals over here on twitch.tv/itishoagie. Then we post it up on podcast services everywhere, over on YouTube as well. You can watch the video of this. And let me just say this. I was looking online last week, saw that there were some comments on some of our Spotify episodes and stuff like that. Started looking at the stats, saw that each of our episodes has more plays than the previous week's episode, so the podcast is growing. We've been posting shorts up on TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. And so let me just say personally, thank you for listening wherever you're listening to us, and make sure you hit that follow button and leave us a comment. Let us know who you main, what rank you're in, leave us a comment about what you're thinking about what we're talking about. If you can hear noises in the background, that's my dog playing with a toy that we just bought him. He's having a hell of a time.
What's up, pup?
So, but yeah, we appreciate everybody for listening in. This is really just a time for Seth and I to hang out and talk about a game that we both love. But we appreciate everybody coming along for the ride. And this is going to be a hell of a ride of an episode today because, Seth, we got a lot of shit to talk about because we finally can stop speculating about season 2 and just start talking about season 2.
Speaking of speculation, we didn't do a lot of speculating. We did a lot of getting right. But we'll talk about that momentarily,
that is actually absolutely right. Because we'll get into it. We'll just kind of highlight when we were right with some of our guesses. If you didn't get a chance to go check out last week's episode of the show, go check it out and see how prophetic Seth and I actually are. So pretty happy. I'll be honest with you guys. I saw the big pieces of news for this. Krakoa, Emma Frost. I watched the Dev Vision video, but when we get into some of the nitty gritty stuff, I'm going to kind of be reacting in real time to some of the balance changes and stuff like that. So yeah, just kind of gonna be going through this in real time with you. But why the hell? Oh. I clicked over into the Rivals website. I'm like, why is this zoomed in so far? It's still zoomed in from the when we saw the cheeked up picture on the Galacta.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right,
That'll do it.
Where do you want to start here, Seth? Do we want to start with the Dev Vision video, since that's kind of the first bit, like, domino that fell last week?
Yeah. Let's go with that. I like the order you've got them in the show notes. So let's just kind of work our way down.
All right, cool. So yeah, the dev team from NetEase put out a video last week, and I'm gonna press play. Headphone users, guard yourself. I have not tweaked the audio on YouTube yet, so let me mute this real quick. Okay. I'm just going to let this play in the background. We're not going to listen to the audio or anything like that. We can kind of just talk through what they're talking about here. So the first thing that they talk about in the video is that starting in Season 3, we got Season 3 news before we got any Season 2 news in this, really. That starting in Season 3, we're going to be changing up the timing of seasons, where seasons are going to last for 2 months, with the half-season split being at each month, and we're going to get a new hero every single month. Seth, that seems like crazy timing. What do you think about that?
It seems, it's very quick. I almost wonder if it's too quick, but I'm also like loath to think that, because that sounds fucking awesome, getting 2 characters, or a character monthly, right? 2 months seems like a short season, but that could be cool. Like that, it could intensify the grind. I think it could also kind of take some pressure off a little bit, though, because like if it's just a 2-month season, and that's split, if they're doing, did they say in the video anything about splits actually?
They didn't, but I'm just assuming the splits, because they did say that we're going to have a new character each month, and that's the way they've been doing their splits. So.
True. I guess so. I'm just wondering about resets and all that, but it might kind of decrease the grind a little bit, because like that's very quick. So it's either going to make people just try to jump in that much more, or maybe just kind of like ease it up a little bit, I think. But that's awesome. I almost wonder, like there are of course hundreds, if not thousands, of characters in the Marvel universe, right? I just kind of makes me wonder, but like a lot of them are the same, kind of like we talked about before. Like you've got Red Hulk, you've got Compound Hulk, you've got Green Hulk, and ad infinitum with a lot of different stuff. So I don't know. Could be awesome, but I'm almost like, well, when are we gonna start running into like, well, they're only launching characters that nobody knows about, like fucking, I don't know, people know Baron Zemo now. What about like Ursa Major, or like, I don't know, Dark Star? I don't know. I guess people know a lot of people, like a lot of characters now they didn't used to. I don't know, but
I get that point, but who knew Jeff the Land Shark? Who knew Luna Snow? Like
that's true. Yeah.
Like I think if one thing Marvel Rivals has done a really great job of is introducing people to Marvel characters beyond just MCU characters, beyond just like the popular X-Men, like but I do I say that both to point out that I think Marvel's doing a great job, but I also agree with you, right? Like 12 characters a year is a lot. And
and with the meta constantly changing as a result too, right? Like that's almost like Whiplash speed. So I don't know. Again, could be awesome, but who knows? There might be a dark side of that.
And knowing that, like, and I don't know when they said this. This may have been sometime in season 0. They talked about how they really want to try to, at least in kind of these early years, avoid kind of introducing characters that have the same silhouettes as other characters. So, like, you're talking about, like, Red Hulk and like uh the Immortal Hulk. Like all these pre-mutations of Hulk, right? Like they don't want to add in these other kinds of Hulks that are going to look similar to the other Hulks, right? Because they want to have the like visual distinction between characters, which is funny when we get to Emma Frost and we're like, there's another blonde white lady. But like, so yeah, I'm interested to see a year, 2 years from now, like the diversity of characters that we're gonna have in this cast. But it's a big universe that we're gonna be pulling from. I mean, League of Legends has 160 champions in that pool, and there you can find people who main all 160 of those characters. Not all of them are viable. Not all of them have ever been viable competitively at the highest levels, but like I think if
But the game is still rocking, man.
but the game's still rocking, and I think if the North Star for your development is we just want to make characters that are fun to play, and not necessarily that we're going to have like 100% representation at the highest level of competitiveness, I think it can work. I think I am a lot more excited about knowing that we're going to have balance patches every month versus every, what, 6, 7, 8 weeks or whatever we're getting them at now.
Yeah, something like that.
Because this has felt like a long time since the season 1.5 patch.
It really has, like I was kind of thinking about it before, like, in conversations with kids, about like, kind of the upcoming changes. And I'm like, well, and in our discussions last week, right, like trying to think about like kind of the narrative shift and who came out. I think I was telling a friend about the game who hadn't heard of Marvel Rivals actually. And I was like, trying to remember who came out first. Was it Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman, or was it Thing and Human Torch? And I'm like, I don't know, because it's been so damn long. So this is exciting. I lean positive on it. I'm just kind of like cautious in
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what could happen, I guess. But
They haven't steered us wrong yet. I mean, it's early on still, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt till they give me a reason to take it away. But
yeah,
the next announcement that they made in it, but outside of just the big things that we're going to get to, there's going to be a ranked reset coming in season 2, and it's going to drop all players down 9 divisions. The example that they gave is that if you're in Diamond 1, you're then going to be dropped down to Silver 1 instead. So this is a big change from what we were going to see, which I think was a 4-division reset at the half season and a 6-division reset at the full season, which was what they were going to do originally. I think this is just full confirmation about what we were talking about last week, right? Which was that not having a reset at the half season was a mistake, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna go back all the way on that, and we're just gonna send everybody back 9 divisions and make you
yeah,
catch
for
up.
sure. Do you remember what was the original kind of goal? I know what was the reset going to be? Was it 4 or 6 at the midway point?
I think it was 4 at the midway and 6 at the full season.
But now they're going to do 9. Okay, so I definitely kind of agree there too. Like it kind of seems like course correction a little bit, as far as I would think.
So I imagine it'll be 9 this time, 4 at the midseason, 6 next time is what I think it's gonna be, but we'll see. And then they did announce that there's going to be an updated map pool for season 2. I don't think we had a map pool up to this point. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think just
no. This is the first one, which seems soon for me. I mean, did they pull Overwatch maps?
Yeah, yeah. Map. There's a competitive map pool in Overwatch. So the map pool in season 2, it's going to add Krakoa, which is the new domination map that's being added for season 2, and Tokyo 1099, which is I always get these mixed up. The convergence map is going to be dropped out, and Royal Palace. So Odin's what is it? Odin's Archive.
Odin's Archive. It's going bye. Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. So
I like the other two, but like that fucking Archive, it's just smoke on the water, baby. Let's get it out of
yeah.
here.
So the game they're not going to be totally taken out. They will still be available in the map rotation in quick play, but in competitive play, those maps won't be available. The that will also carry over into esports play and tournament play as well. So so new map rotation. I'm okay with that. I I'd like to see the logic in the Tokyo 1099 getting dropped out if they just kind of randomly picked one, or I don't know. Is there anything that
Yeah.
sticks out to you about Tokyo 1099 that would make you think they're gonna drop it out? I do know that
No, I
first point
mean,
is really like hard for the attacking team to take.
yeah. I mean, I could see that, especially with that. That's the one with the tower right as you come out of spawn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the choke, right around the corner. Yeah, I mean, other than that, are there two Krakoa maps they're adding, or is it just one?
It's just one. It's just the domination map.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe it's just kind of like preemptive for, I guess, like a second map at the mid-season break or at the split or something like that.
Yeah, that could be it. So, do we want to just guess it's going to be a convergence map? It's
I mean, yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I don't know. I would love to have a domination map. Like I think that's the mode that's nearest and dearest to my heart. Like I just love getting in there and clashing, but you know, can't
yeah.
have too much of a good thing. So I don't know. I'm kind of happy with whatever. I'm honestly just excited at this angle, and I think we kind of did we predict that too as a possible storyline,
The Krakoa stuff.
or yeah.
I think you had mentioned Krakoa. Krakoa is definitely a domination map. I was saying the half season is going to be
Okay.
convergence. Yeah. They had some streamers playing on the new update, and Krakoa looks awesome.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, I'm just excited. That's one of my favorite comic arcs too. I'm not all the way through it. I finished like the House of X, Powers of X, where they first launched that story. But I'm kind of excited that this is their X-Men universe, and that it's pulling from Krakoa. And I think there's a lot of potential for that. Yeah, if you haven't read that one, I know you're an X-Men dude more than I probably am. So I would definitely. It's like a hard sci-fi story. This is tangential, but whatever. I definitely would recommend that, and it's kind of cool, kind of knowing some of that stuff going into this season, and what they could kind of work in or that kind of thing.
oh, nice. Yeah, text me what I need to check out so that I have it written down somewhere.
Well, you've got the Marvel Unlimited app, and you're going to get that Thing skin here in a couple weeks. But I think they've got reading lists and stuff like that for you. It
Oh,
should be.
okay,
It's pretty.
cool. All right, and then the final thing outside of the major stuff that we're going to get to here in just a second is hero bands are coming to lower ranks. So rather than starting in Diamond 3, they are now going to start in Gold 3. Seth, what do you make of this?
Bring it on, man. I kind of it's nice sometimes, like where I've been kind of at that mid low rank level, low diamond, mid diamond, and then of course high plat where you're playing some diamond lobbies. Um, it's nice sometimes to kind of catch a break and just jump in, play whoever you want to play. That's also what quick plays for, right? Like I think more people need to kind of be exposed to those bands at even lower ranks because they need to branch off. Like I run into people in those diamond lobbies that are like, I've got to play Hawkeye. I only know how to play Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ban Hawkeye. And first, number one, I'm like, get fucked, buddy. It's not your game. Number two, like play somebody else. There are 30 something champion or characters that you can play here. 30 something heroes and villains. Figure it out. Play somebody new. At least have 2 or 3 in your pocket. For at least one role, maybe 2, 3 could be cool.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I was going to make. Just that if you get to Diamond one tricking, you're going to be fucked if your one trick gets banned out. And so, you know, almost every other game I've ever played that has a ban system, the ban system exists kind of in all ranks. And so bringing it down to gold, I think makes a whole lot of sense. And yeah, if you're good with Spider-Man and you make it to gold 3 on Spider-Man, that's cool. You can be good at Spider-Man, but you should probably pick up Star-Lord or some other shit too, because you're gonna get target banned from time to time. So
Well, most of the time if you're playing Spider-Man, but
that's true. A lot of Spider-Man bans. So, all right, man. Well, let's get into the nitty gritty of some of this stuff. Let's talk first about Krakoa here, because we already touched a little bit on that. Krakoa is coming to Marvel Rivals on April 11th. Oh yeah, we didn't say the date. April 11th, Friday. So I was a little upset at how early season 2 stuff started coming out. I thought we were going to start seeing it rolling out this week. But like our episode was like a day old, and then season 2 stuff started dropping, and I was like, shit, everything we said is already starting to, get demolished. But so yeah, Seth, if you want to open up the link on Krakoa and watch this trailer, since I'm not sharing screen with you, but yeah,
I've seen this.
Yeah, so we've got the Krakoa map here. Tell me what you know about Krakoa from your reading, Seth, and what we should be looking out for
just in general, Krakoa, there's a whole thing with Moira McTaggart and, kind of like the revision of history through multiple lives, through mutant power, whatever. We don't have to go that deep, but just in general, it's like an island country that belongs totally to the mutants, kind of like Genosha, but, different in that it is the island itself is a mutant, which is a wild ass idea. It's alive. It has its own language. That like one of the mutants' powers is just kind of to like translate the language of this island. It's a character in and of itself. It's totally governed by mutants. They have their own laws. The whole kind of like setup arc is about them like solving a bunch of the world's problems and then kind of holding them at ransom and being like, like if you guys want cures for diseases and if you want things that mutants can do, you have to kind of acknowledge our sovereignty as a nation. It's kind of just like Xavier and Magneto just going like just getting the cojones that they never really had, at least Charles maybe, and in some of those earlier shows. The two of them are friends, like consistently, like they're allied and like kind of like have the same purpose. They're even allied with people like Apocalypse and Mr. Sinister. Like it's pretty much everybody kind of together, which is wild as hell. And again, just kind of like there's a lot of potential to kind of change up the dynamic of what people kind of expect. It's kind of an older storyline now, but I think this kind of thing, however deep people get into the lore of the game, like I think this kind of has some potential to kind of change people's expectations of what like an X-Men story can be, or something like that.
So I think the main thing I noticed in this trailer was we have 4 statues.
Mm-hmm.
In this,
that's part of the Quiet Council. So and I know who you're looking at. Who were you looking at in there? You saw Mag.
Yeah, we saw Mag. We saw Emma Frost. We saw Storm. All 3 of those characters have something in common. They are in this game or will be in this game. And the 4th statue, Professor Charles Xavier. Wheelchairless.
So I'm curious for you, how did you know that was Professor Charles Xavier? Because he's wearing a big ass X helmet and he's standing up with his legs. So how did you know that was him?
I mean, that looks like his Cerebro helmet.
Okay. So
yeah, it's basically I'm guessing that's who it is, right?
Yeah, that's who it is. He kind of has this new like sleek look in that story arc too, and also not in a wheelchair. Than the hover chair or whatever version of his wheelchair there is. So yeah, I think that would be awesome. And again, this is kind of a way to set that up for the future too. This might be the Blade of this season, kind of seeing Charles Xavier in statue form right here.
I like that call out. The like, hey, it's something that's going to be playable in the future, not necessarily next season, but here's your first look at what the design is going to look like. Yes. All right, man. Well, let's get to what everybody wants to talk about, and it is mommy herself, Emma Frost.
Hubba hubba.
Because NetEase came out last week and said, if we can't make you guilty enough to play Tank, we're sure as hell gonna make you horny enough to play it. All right, we're gonna give Venom a twerking emote. And we're going to put the mother of all mothers in this game, Emma Frost, all right? And Emma Frost is coming to the game as a Vanguard. Let me pull up her trailer, actually. Let me go back to this view so that we can pull her trailer up. Because we were doing some speculating about her. And Seth, I know that when we were talking about her coming to the game, you were mentioning her, as a healer, as a DPS, and when I mentioned her as a tank, you were like, a tank, really? So, what was your kind of initial reaction seeing the trailer as I get it pulled up?
So when I kind of remembered, because where I've most recently read the Krakoa arc, she's more of like a politician in that than like like an active mutant. So I'd kind of forgotten she's actually a telepath, and I had forgotten that she's not like an ice lady. She's like her powers like she turns into like diamond or crystal or whatever. Right? Is it crystal?
Oh, sorry.
What's her secondary mode called? It's Diamond. Okay. So I'd forgotten totally who she is. So when you said that, I was like, oh, it makes total sense. And I was thinking it'd be cool. I think I mentioned in that episode, like, yeah, that would be cool if she's a Vanguard, because number one, she's like small. She doesn't have to necessarily be this kind of, big meaty tank like the Thing or somebody like that. But like kind of like her mutant power kind of makes her a tank, and I think it's cool how they're doing this with her powers, the way they split up. You've kind of got her tank mode with her diamonds covering, and then you kind of have what I feel like is almost like a DPS mode too, or like a little bit more when she's not in diamond form, or maybe it's the other way around, but who knows? I mean, I think it's really cool. We could talk some more about her form and how they made her a tank if we need to get into that. I kind of appreciate, not saying I'm all boned up about Emma Frost over here, but I appreciate the creative choices they made to kind of like she doesn't look the way she looks in any other X-Men media in this game, but they kind of like they made her a tank, at least in her bottom half, part of her top half.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Emma Frost outside of what I've seen, in the last week from, because she's a pretty like deep cut character. She's not like, at least in my opinion, like she's not in the animated series or anything, which is my exposure to most of X-Men. She's not in like the X-Men movies or anything like that, right? So yeah, I had never really heard of Emma Frost, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. But the design of the character is really cool. I do love it. She's kind of got that like Ramatra feel almost. I don't know, you weren't playing Overwatch by the time Ramatra came around, right?
That's that other Omnic, right? I think I might have played like a game or two as him, but I think I was pretty out of the game. Pretty checked out by that.
Yeah, so he's got these two forms, right, where he's got like his ranged abilities, where he can kind of deal damage from a distance, but then when he can get up close and personal with his opponents, he has this other form where he becomes more of a melee character. When I first saw Emma Frost kit, I thought that was going to be more of her kind of design, where you kind of flex between these two modes. When I started reading the breakdown of her kit, it's a little less like that. Her diamond form is more of its own kind of separate cooldown, and let's get into this breakdown here. I've got this linked in the
Cloak and Dagger thing, right? But
no, it's not. So Cloak and Dagger is more of kind of what Ramatra is, where you can like switch freely between the two, right? Whereas with Emma Frost, the diamond form is like you switch, you get 5 seconds in diamond form, and then you go back. So yeah, if you click on that link that I have in there on Emma Frost for her abilities, there's a breakdown here. So her primary fire, she's got her telepathic pulse and her faceted fury. So her telepathic pulse, in the trailer you saw this was that psionic beam that shoots out, does damage from range. And the longer that the beam hits, the higher the damage. So sort of like Symmetra's beam in Overwatch. Which honestly, dude, I think if you're gonna have a beam character, I think this is what Scarlet Witch's primary fire should be like too. But that's just my opinion.
I kind of had a kid bring up that point too today. Like, why not just do that? And I'm like, well, they can't now because you can't have two doing the same thing. But yeah, it probably would have saved a lot of people a lot of complaints if they had done this with Scarlet Witch. Maybe this is kind of a course correct too. Just kind of adding a different little different flavor to that kind of ability.
Maybe. Um, and then in diamond form, her primary fire is her Faceted Fury, which is just punching the shit out of people. So,
Mm-hmm.
we'll come back to her ultimate here in just a second. But her diamond form, so diamond form, when it's activated, transforms her attack style into the Faceted Fury. But she also gains damage reduction, and she becomes unstoppable. So she gets the same knockback immunity that the thing just has, as his like always passive. Her E ability is her Carbon Crush. So in Diamond form, she lunges forward, she grabs enemies, and she fucking choke slams them. It's so cool. um, and then her E, when she is in just regular form, is her Psychic Spear. So in regular form, she seizes control of an enemy's sentience. Damage dealt to sentience cascades to the physical form and can be pierced by telepathic pulse. When the sentience shatters, it unleashes extra damage on its owner. So you can kind of stack the damage there, and then you get bonus damage if you deal enough damage. And then Mind Aegis, you create a levitating barrier at the designated location. So she has like this projected crystal barrier that she puts out that blocks incoming damage, and it can block like in the trailer you see it blocks like an Iron Man ult. It's like, so a lot of utility there. I would think I it may not be fair to always like kind of point this or compare it to an Overwatch ability, but like a Sigma Shield or something like that, where you kind of have control over the distance that you cast it out at, right, and can recall it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then she has the Crystal Kick, so in her diamond form she can unleash a flying kick forward and knock back enemies. So, and then Psionic Seduction, this is such a, I love the like mind control aspects of her kit. So this is her ultimate. She projects a psychic assault that stuns foes and prevents them from unleashing their ultimate abilities. So think of like a more limited kind of EMP. But if it lingers, so if you stand in this psionic seduction too long, it starts to commandeer the minds of the people standing in it, and they'll start to walk forward. So if we go back to the trailer when she casts the ult out, let's see if we can find the spot where she does it. So when she casts the ult out, and the people start walking off the ledge, that's because they stayed in the ultimate too long, and just started getting their mind taken over and start walking forward.
Mm-hmm. And then she can probably crystal up and just knock the shit out of them, right? But...
yeah. So you can use this for like crowd control. You can use it to get people off the map. You can do it to bring them in range, and switch to diamond form and deal extra damage to them. So I don't know. What do you think of her kit after watching the trailer, kind of reading the stuff?
I think there's a lot of possibility for her. I feel like she's going to be a lot of fun to play. I think we're going to see some of her for a while. I mean, it seems like fun. Like there's just kind of a little something for everybody. Like there's that kind of invisible woman, like zoning stuff with her ult, kind of like her psionic pull or whatever it's called, her orb she sends out. I mean, she's got damage. She's got that kind of tank power, and she's a little bit thing. She's a little bit invisible woman. She's kind of a little bit of like a few different characters, and I think that's a little badass.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how she's going to play out in the meta. I don't think there really is a tank like her right now that she kind of like that you can kind of compare her to in the meta. That's, I mean, honestly, the thing is probably the closest you can maybe get, where she seems like she's going to be kind of brawly. She's going to want to be up in the middle of the fray and
up close and personal. Yeah, choke slam.
Because even in her ranged form, right, it doesn't seem like she's got a whole lot of distance on that primary fire. I think her shield figuring out how to get the most value out of, you know, like a projectile shield like that is going to be key to getting value out of her. And I also think just figuring out like how to creatively use. I'm not sure how powerful that ultimate is going to be by itself, right? So I think you're going to have to coordinate with your teammates and really figure out how to get the most value out of an ultimate like that. I can see it pairing well with, you know, like a Bucky ultimate, uh, uh, like a Namor ultimate, you know, like those AoE big damage ultimates and stuff like that. But I'm interested to see how it plays out as kind of like an ultimate on its own, right? Because it doesn't seem to do a whole lot just by itself, outside of just being cool because you're taking over somebody's as a concept. That's just awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, when we're tank duoing next season, and we figure out who the best you know, Emma Frost player is, who's going to main her, we'll figure out how to maximize our potential. All right, Seth. Any final thoughts on Emma Frost before we move on?
No, I think you mentioned just the last, like there are some aesthetic things that I'm sure are going to please some crowds. I think it's a very intentional choice of NetEase that they are immediately launching her with a scantily clad skin, and with animations that are very jiggly. So
Mm-hmm.
they're again trying to put the asses in the seats, I think, for Emma Frost. And from what I hear teenagers say about her, I think she's going to be a very popular character.
Yeah, yeah. I think what I've heard people calling the X Revolution skin that they revealed, I think people are calling it the Gooner skin. So
Yeah, when the teenagers say the things, and then I say don't say those things, and then they say I'm a little quieter, and you still hear them, but whatever. Yeah.
and then I say, "This is my podcast," and I say what I want. And this is the Gooner skin. Speaking of the Gooner skin, I just dropped a link inside the chat to the skins from the Battle Pass and these skins that are going to release at the start of this new season, including the Emma Frost X Revolution skin. Because you didn't think that the jiggle physics could be more on display than her default skin, but as a matter of fact, they certainly are. In the X Revolution skin, but Star-Lord also getting a new skin at the start of the new season with his King of Something skin that's cut off here. Spartax, King of Spartax skin. So these are the just for purchase skins. These aren't going to be a part of the Battle Pass, but these are the characters that are going to be getting Battle Pass skins. So we got Magic, Luna Snow, Psylocke, Iron Fist, Black Widow, Captain America, Bruce Banner, Squirrel Girl, Spider-Man, and Cloak and Dagger. All going to be getting Battle Pass skins as a part of the Flower of Krakoa Season 2 Battle Pass. Let me play this trailer here. Let me mute this trailer here. So this is the trailer. Seth, what skins of the ones in this Battle Pass are the ones that you're like, man, I got to get my hands on that?
I'm excited for a lot of these skins, actually. I'm really into this Hulk skin. It reminds me of one of the Hulk personas, Joe Fixit, kind of like the gangster style, like 20s gangster jazz era Hulk, with the Tommy gun and stuff like that. He's kind of got that vibe, and I really like that. I love a good gray Hulk too. Your animals are fighting in the background, I think, too. What do they do? They're just going to war. Whatever. So the Cloak and Dagger skin is a Cloak and Dagger player. That looks awesome too. Kind of like a different, that kind of dance. It's got the same vibe as their other skin. Their paid skin they came out with a little while ago. I forget what it's called, but kind of like that.
Yeah,
That
the Gangs
20s
of New
gangster
York.
dance
Yeah.
club too. This is like a classier version of that. It's got the kind of dance, the gala dynamic. I really like the even though I don't really play either Magic or Psylocke, I love those kind of classic looking skins too. And then I like the whatever this seasonal event is that's coming out. The Mantis I think is awesome.
Yeah, I
Green
actually had not
gold.
seen this Mantis skin yet. This is my first time seeing this. This skin is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So for the Cerebro database event, um, Storm. Well, I guess that's just the skin that she's came the paid skin for this season. I like the Logan, the Wolverine skin too. That's from some classic arc too, like where like Hulk and Wolverine teamed up, dressed up in white tuxes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a kind of similar Hulk skin coming out one of these days. There's a lot of good stuff here. I even like the Rocket skin, kind of like the tropical hat, the fancy necklace, that kind of thing. It looks awesome to me. There's even apparently, I guess it says down at the bottom, not confirmed, but the Jeff the Land Shark skin looks like it's got a lay on, and like a tiny Luna on top of him or something like that. Could be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, and a shirt of some kind. So,
Mm,
um,
love a shark in a shirt.
there's also going to be, I think, some costume recolors. I'm all about the Luna Snow skin. I think the Luna skin is one I'm definitely going to be grinding for. I feel like every Scarlet Witch skin in this game looks the same. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't play Psylocke or Magic, but if every character in the game had an old school like 90s animated X-Men skin, I would have every single one of them. I would buy all of them if they had them because those are just sick. I will learn to play Psylocke and Magic just to have those. Um, yeah, you know me, dude. I've never been a guy who's like been really into the cosmetics or anything like that, but this game just, I don't know, it grips me with those things. And
I guess where I mean, Overwatch, it's first person, so you just kind of know that you have the skin, and it's just not nearly as satisfying as seeing it in that third person. I think that I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that's the whole reason this game is third person, to kind of make those skins more desirable. And again, like make buku bucks for NetEase.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point, actually. I do kind of feel like aesthetically though that what you said about like Cloak and Daggers feeling a little close to like the or having the same kind of vibe as like the gangster skin that they had. I kind of feel that way about the whole of this kind of theme with the whole like gala. We're gonna all wear like dress up, wear suits. Like, um, I don't know. Like, I was hoping they would kind of go in. I don't know. Look, when does this season end? Probably midsummer. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I was hoping for maybe kind of a more summery theme for this season that we were gonna go with
yeah.
because but maybe we'll see that midsummer. This just kind of feels a little close to what we saw in the last season pass aesthetically to me. But there's some stuff in this pass I'm excited about, especially the Luna Snow skin since I still play on the default skin despite having Lord with her. All right, let's get into the balance changes. This is where we're going to talk about the rank changes and things like that as well. Actually, there were two balance updates. So if you click on news, Seth, in Marvel, the first one on their news page is where we're going to start. So um, let's see. So we already talked about maps and modes. We talked about the map rotation and things like that. Um, and then so battle pass and season event. So um, the battle pass is coming. The new season event, the Cerebro database, is going to launch. Have they talked any details about that, or just the name and the Mantis skin? I haven't seen anything
I
else.
think just the name of the skin is all that I've heard of.
Okay. And then you're gonna there's a complete 9 matches to receive a free Scarlet Witch costume, the Chaos Gown. Um, and then new Twitch drops are coming with a Namor Will of Galacta costume, nameplate, spray, and emote. And then a mission system revamp. So this was something that I saw a lot of excitement about actually on the Reddit. It says new weekly missions and rewards have been added, and the balance of daily and challenge missions has been adjusted while maintaining the overall chrono token distribution. The proportion of hero specific missions has also been reduced. I really like this one, dude, because the number of times that it's like take 40,000 damage as Captain America, uh, Hawkeye, like 4 characters I've never touched before, is just astronomically high on those kinds of challenges. So I like that change.
Yeah.
All right, here's the ranked ones. Let me read these out, and then we can react to them kind of all at once. So, ranked reset, we already talked about that. Everyone's going down 9 divisions. There's going to be new ranked rewards. So, if you reach gold, you're going to get an Emma Frost Golden Diamond, along with the new crests of honor for Grandmaster, Celestial, Eternity, and Top 500. We don't have to worry about those. Well, maybe the Grandmaster one, maybe the Celestial one. Who knows? The minimum level required for new players to participate in competitive has been adjusted to 15. It was previously 10. If you've previously completed at least one valid competitive match, you can still join competitive in 2.0 if you're below 15. Pick bands coming to Gold 3 rather than Diamond. When a team includes players from Eternity or One Above All, only solo and duo queuing will be allowed. And then currently, the score you earn per competitive match is determined by both the outcome and your individual performance. After Season 2 launches, it'll increase the weight of individual performances. The better you perform, the more points you will earn in victory, and the fewer points you will lose in defeat. Seth, a lot to unpack there. What jumps out to you?
I kind of like all of that. I think I don't know how I feel about increasing the amount of levels that you need to be able to play competitive. I feel like 10's a solid number. But isn't it? What was it in Overwatch? Was it like 25 or something like that, or am I making that up?
Yeah, it was pretty high. It was like 20, 25. In Fragpunk, it's 30.
Oh, so maybe it's not that wild. I don't know. I mean, I feel like 10 is just a solid number. Like you probably played enough matches to get it, but maybe that'll help kind of like put a little barrier to entry and kind of like change some of the issues that we have with people. Maybe it'll trickle up to Diamond, where people are one trick ponies just doing their thing. I don't know. But that's the biggest thing that sticks out to me.
Yeah, I think it also helps kind of slow down. I mean, nothing's ever gonna like completely eliminate this, but I think it helps slow down secondary and Smurf accounts too, right?
Sure.
So the more we can do that, I think the better. I also like the idea that it's more weight put on individual performances in the kind of adjustments, or how we're distributing rank points at the end of losses. If I pop off and do a ton of healing, get a bunch of assists, but my team still loses, I'm gonna lose less rank points than I would if I sucked ass throughout the loss.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that incentivizes people to kind of stay engaged throughout the entirety of a match rather than just checking out if it's going to be a loss. It's really going to depend on how well you can kind of quantify how your performance is impacting that. So, but overall, I like those adjustments. We'll have to kind of, I think, react to those in real time as we see them playing out. So,
sure.
So we'll see. Let's see. We won't really get into the tournament updates because we don't really talk a whole lot about the like in-game tournament stuff here. So, faction updates, we'll skip that too. Let's talk about these general updates real quick. So, there is a new gift feature for friends, so you can now gift cosmetics to your friends. So, Seth, if you ever wanted to buy me a skin, you're able to do that now, which I think is a cool feature, right? So, if you want to gift somebody something, you can do that. The career overview page now supports the selection of specific hero forms. I don't think I know what that means. Do you?
I think it's if I read it right earlier, it's something to do with like maybe like small cosmetic adjustments to skins. So like maybe changing like slightly altering the color of an article of clothing or like an accessory or something like that. It's kind of what I got from it. I could be off. What are you looking at, dog?
He's not liking that the cat is on the back of this couch. So
terrible of that cat to be on a couch.
I
love cats.
let's see. Rank leaderboard display has been added to career. Real-time voice chat has been optimized. An interface prompt now appears when you activate voice chat using push to talk. In custom games, spectators can now temporarily exit during matches, enabling them to rejoin the action anytime. And a new room host transfer function has been introduced. The current host can right-click on other players to transfer host privileges. Let's see. Some PC adjustments here. We've introduced an experimental feature, Switch Shader Compilation Mode. When activated, shaders will only compile the first time you launch the game after a new version or graphics driver updates. I play on PC some. Sucks. Every time you boot the game, it has to compile shaders. So this is a nice little quality of life update. Yeah, that's going to help with some optimization stuff. So... and then they've added some support for a bunch of different shit there that I don't understand. So on console, new vertical dead zone sensitivity settings. Players can now customize the additional acceleration sensitivity after reaching the vertical dead zone. So stuff for your sticks. Additional sensitivity acceleration delay settings. Character movement stick dead zone settings. So you can set your stuff for specific characters. Trigger dead zone settings. New player initial settings feature and focus memory optimization. So a bunch of different changes there coming to consoles. Fixes and optimizations that are coming. And then here we go. Let's jump over to the other patch notes and talk about the balance adjustments to the heroes. Because this is what we actually want to talk about, Seth.
Yeah, this is the nitty gritty. So you have not looked at much of these, right? I've looked at a little bit, kind of like just through kind of my main areas of interest, the people I hate, the people I love. But this is all new for you, right?
I mean, I've seen a little bit of it. I've seen the Hulk changes. But I haven't seen the full sweep of it. And I haven't seen all the numbers. So I'll kind of be looking in real time here. So, all right, let's start with our vanguards here. So Captain America. Reduce a base health from 675 to 650 and reduce the shield value of Living Legend to 400 to 350. Why is Captain America getting a nerf?
I mean, I think they made him. I wouldn't say he's too powerful. He just kind of became, after that last buff he got. I feel like he's just such a viable backline tank. I mean, he's almost impossible to stop. He jumps around, he's all over the board. So I feel like just a 25-point reduction in his base health, that's not too much to take off the table.
Did he get a team up? Oh, he got a team up.
Did he get a team up?
Yeah.
He did it with Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah, let's try to talk about those at the same time, because I think that might help. Okay. Stars align. Captain America and Winter Soldier, a classic partnership now with added strength. As the team-up anchor, Captain America gains a maximum health increase of 100 and a 5% boost to damage output. Okay, that's pretty massive. And with Winter Soldier being like a meta character, that seems like a pretty... Yeah, okay. And Winter Soldier unlocks the devastating stellar impact ability through his team up with Captain America, and I'm sure we'll see that in a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off. What were you saying?
No. I mean, that's a pretty fair trade-off. He's a backline. I mean, he's a force to be reckoned with now. Whenever you get him in that backline, or if like he's just trying to stall point. So the 25, I feel like it's not much to lose, and especially if he's getting a kind of stellar team up like that, that's a pretty fair trade, I think.
A 750 Captain America with a 350 shield doing 5% extra damage to my backline sounds like a terror. It sounds horrible.
Yeah, so I mean, but that's with ult, So I don't know. It could be cool. He's getting a nerf, but at the same time he's kind of getting a buff too.
Yeah.
So and that's only if you've got the soldier team up too. So I don't know. I feel like it's a fair trade. We'll see how it shakes out in comp.
All right, the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, decrease the daggers of Danak, which is his primary fire, damage per projectile from 18 to 16, and reduce the Maelstrom of Madness conversion ratio of dark magic to damage from 1.3 to 1.2. I think he's also getting some changes to his team ups. He's being removed, I think, from the Gamma team up. And wait, no, he's still in the Gamma charge. No, he's being
I
removed
think
from
he's
the
not
Gamma.
in the. What did you say?
So he's being removed from the Gamma charge, but he's being added to the. He's getting an Arcane Order with Scarlet Witch. So he's going to gain a maximum health increase of 100, and Scarlet Witch will get that Mystic Burst ability through her team up with Doctor Strange. So some damage nerfs to Doctor Strange. He's already got some survivability nerfs to like in the last patch. And so I don't know. Doctor Strange seems like he's gonna have a hard time without kind of that team up. Because 18 to 16 on his primary fire seems like a pretty big nerf as well.
Oh, yeah, I'd say so. But again, he's also kind of a force too. At least he's still got a shield. Um, so he's still got a lot to work with. He's a pretty strong tank. So I don't know, 2 point loss. I mean, it adds up, but I don't think it's a game breaker. To take Strange out of that kind of strong stance as a vanguard.
I want to hop down to Scarlet Witch because I think it'd be good. Like, let's talk about Scarlet Witch because I think it'd be good to talk about and say, okay, Scarlet Witch has been like completely non-existent really in the competitive meta at most ranks. So, did the changes to Scarlet Witch make her viable enough to say, okay, we're going to see her enough to like make the team up with Strange relevant? So, let's talk about her changes. So, she's getting removed from the team up with Magneto. So Magneto's big sword's going bye-bye, right? She's going to get this new like burst damage thing with the team up, which looks really cool. But remove chaos control percentage damage while increasing fixed damage from 60 to 80 per second. Okay. Increase Chthonian burst projectile damage from 35 to 40 and spell field damage from 35 to 40. Okay, that seems like a pretty big buff that gives her better burst, which has always been kind of her big problem, right? Increase the cooldown of Mystic Projection from 8 seconds to 10 seconds, and reduced phased state time from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. So her Mystic Projection's her little thing to like get out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of a nerf there, and then rework the slow effect. Go ahead.
I think so. But it's either that or one of her projectiles. I don't. Names are hard.
Yeah, I think the Chthonian burst is her projectile, and then I think the Mystic Projection is her like phasing out of reality and like
Gotcha. Not the bubble projection either, or the bubble that she shoots out.
I think so. Hold on.
Okay, that's not a big deal. I'm sure the people correct. So yeah, leave a comment if if we're mistaken about all this crap and this stuff.
Yeah, it allows her to free fly around the map.
Gotcha.
All right. And then the last thing, it reworks the slow effect of reality erasure to start at 1.5 seconds instead of starting immediately with a linear increase to a 35% slow over 3.5 seconds. So if I'm reading that right, that just makes her less of an easy to shoot target during her ultimate ability, right? So a little buff to her ult, which is welcome because she's just really fucking easy to shoot.
Yeah, you pretty much have to have a mag or somebody to shield, like to kind of guarantee you can pop that off.
Yeah, or like
either that or a nice timed corner, or I didn't realize until today a kid informed me, in a match he was playing that did you know that you can like stealth launch her Witch's ult if you launch it on the other side of a portal, like a strange portal, and then she flies into the map to release the ult.
Oh, I did not.
The audio doesn't come through the portal.
Oh, I did know that there's another way you can audio cancel for ult too. that I heard about where you can like animation cancel it somehow. But yeah, either that or like an invisible woman. Yeah, you have to invest a lot to like get one off. So um,
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe this helps. I mean, the 60 damage per second to 80 damage per second is a really big change to an already kind of annoying auto lock ability. Um, so yeah, maybe Scarlet Witch with the team up to Strange does become viable in this new season 2 meta. So we'll see. Um, all right, let's talk about Hulk. So he gets an increased base movement speed from 600 to 650, reduced cooldown time for indestructible guard from 12 seconds to 10 seconds, and decreased minimum charge time for incredible leap from zero point 0.7 seconds to 0.5 seconds. And Seth, if we had an editor, this is where I would say, editor, please put in where Seth and I were talking about this last week, because these were the exact changes that we said he needed. We said he needs to move faster, he needs to have his shield off cooldown faster, and he needs to be able to get his jump back quicker. And what did they do? All three of those things. Look at us. Look at us.
Look at us. Look at us. We bad.
Hire us, NetEase.
we
We'll move to China.
we see what the people need. Yeah, I think I had maybe mentioned adding some extra damage, but that was kind of a long shot stretch too. I mean, damage he's pretty solid on. It's just kind of like just making him a little bit more mobile, a little bit more viable, a little bit tougher, meatier, and yeah, this seems like it's going to do it. So I'm all for it. I might start playing a little bit more Hulk just to get back in the swing of things, especially with that skin coming out for the Battle Pass.
Yes, yes. Um, Magneto getting a little bit of a nerf. The increased cost of Meteor M going from 3,100 to 3,400. I think this is really just in response to how people use the ult. That the ult is becoming kind of more of like a defensive ult, being used to counter things like Star Lord and some of those other like Punisher ult, like to absorb DPS rather than to deal damage. So this all that makes sense. They're trying to minimize a lot of the stuff that negates the DPS ults because it just feels bad. So I honestly surprised that that's all they did to Magneto, given how prevalent he is.
Yeah, I mean, which I'll take it as a newfound Magneto main. So he's definitely like stepped up in my pocket a lot. So I'll take it. That's not really anything to cry about. So let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
We probably don't have time enough to go through all of these. You want to just kind of hit some of like the heavy hitters, like
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this next one because I do think this is a heavy hitter. Penny Parker's
okay.
cyber web cluster now has a chance to crit. That's crazy.
That's crazy. That is crazy. I mean, that's buck wild. I hope it's a low chance. I mean, it's pretty low anyway, I guess. But I mean, that's wow. Those mines are a force to be reckoned with, right? We're gonna see a lot more Penny. I feel like I see enough Penny right now as it is, and I don't know. I mean, that's tough, and I feel like that it's cool on like Dom or something else. I feel like we're going to see a lot more attack pennies though coming out with this, for better or for worse.
I mean, she's also getting 100 extra health. Like she's getting a buff to her movement speed while she's doing her primary fire. Like I don't know. I think Penny Parker's gonna move up on the old tier list when we get around to that here in a couple weeks. So we'll see. Your thing, main. What do you think about his little, damage reduction nerf on his leap? It's not a huge change, but do you think that does much for him?
No, I mean it's something I barely notice as it is. I'm just glad that it's not like a reduction to the length of the leap, because that leap kind of like saves the thing. I think that makes him not just a damage sponge. So yeah, the damage reduction, I barely notice it for the most part. You got to be very specific with the timing. 5%, I don't think that's that much. That's that much either. It's not a game breaker. I don't think it's going to take thing necessarily out of meta.
Mm-hmm. They made some more meaningless changes to Black Widow that aren't going to change her position at all in the meta. Um, Hawkeye reduced the slow effect while charging the bow from 30 to 20. I think that's pretty significant. Increased both instances of damage for hypersonic arrow from 50 to 55, and a really big buff to his Hunter's Sight, where he gets it reducing the charge from 3,700 to 3,100. I already started to think we were starting to see more Hawkeyes. I think we're going to start to see even more Hawkeyes now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
This definitely makes him a little bit more of a force, I think, to be reckoned with. Because again, like he's got the power already. Um, and if I mean, as long as he's got the aim, he's got the power. And now that he's got a little more mobility, that's that's tempting. I'm not gonna play him because I can't aim for shit. That's why I play supports and tanks with burst damage. You know what I mean? But close range melee brawlers. But um, yeah, good luck to the people who do.
um, Trying to make Hella more of a little bit of a glass cannon here by taking away a little bit more of her mobility. Astral Flock getting a bit of a nerf, but she's getting some more damage to her piercing knight and also to a decreased cooldown on Soul Drainer. Human Torch. These were ones we were interested in. Reduced attack interval for Fire Cluster by 1/10 of a second. The launching time of the primary attack projectile has been advanced. Increase the cooldown time for Flaming Meteor from 12 seconds to 15 seconds, but add a new effect after releasing Flaming Meteor. Immediately gain 75 bonus health, which will start to fall off 3 seconds later at a rate of 30%. I think that's a really good change there, honestly, because I don't feel like I see enough Human Torches using that ability to like dive backlines. And
I never
so
see it. I honestly don't think I've seen it one time. I've never seen a torch dive down and touch the ground. They're always way high up ass in the air and barely doing any damage or just getting low enough to really like make some interesting designs and flame barriers, stuff like that. So I could be a pain in the ass. He could be the new Spider-Man with this. Who knows? But worth a shot to see it, see how it goes.
yeah, 75 might be a lot. That's a lot of health. Iron
Mhm.
Man's going to become a lot more pesky to deal with on console, at least. His hitbox is going to be slightly reduced. And he's going to gain 100 bonus health, activating Armor Overdrive or Gamma Overdrive that will start to fall off 5 seconds later at a rate of 30 per second. Iron Fist is getting a bunch of changes. It's going to increase his effectiveness against vanguards. They're going to continue to try to make him a tank buster when everybody wants to play him as a backline dive character. Don't understand what they're trying to do with Iron Fist here, but go off, I guess. Mr. Fantastic, I guess they're just going to continue to slightly bump up his base health until they just one day accidentally move him over to the Vanguard and
Yeah,
keep him
yeah.
there.
I mean, you can't get much tankier, but he's working on it.
He's going to get damage pretty much across the board for his stretch punches, flexible elongation, gets a new effect. Enemies within range now suffer a slow effect, reduced elasticity gain from the elastic stretch from 30 to 20. And then when he uses the Brainiac bounce, he gains bonus health so that you can't just instantly shoot him out of his ultimate ability. I think all really good changes to Mr. Fantastic there. I think, you know, I think he can do some interesting things if he's meta, like especially with the Thing being meta, with Emma Frost being more of a brawl character. Like Mr. Fantastic could be such an interesting character to watch in high level play. With if they can just get him in the right spot, and these seem like some pretty good changes.
Yeah, I didn't realize until talking about with somebody today. I watched a kid play in Fantastic who doesn't usually play it. Somehow the kids know these things that I don't. Apparently, you are supposed to always just use his ult, the Brainiac bounce when you're in the inflated state, and if you don't, it's stupid because like you don't get his bonus health buff. And now it's kind of cool. I think that they're adding that last note. They're going to do that just from the get go when you go into when you ult. So it kind of kind of takes a step out. You can use the ult whenever you want to instead of having to get that in play state first. So I think that's going to make him a lot more viable too, and just kind of make him last a little bit longer in that ult.
Yeah. All right, I do want to talk about these Moon Knight, and then we can go down and just get to the strategist here, because I think Moon Knight gets some interesting things. Increase the projectile speed of his primary fire from 120 meters per second to 150 meters per second. I think that's really big. His Moonblade, now he gets 25 bonus health for each enemy hit, up to a max of 100. And then that falls off after 3 seconds after the bonus health stops increasing. It starts to fall off at a rate of 20 per second. So giving him a lot more survivability there. He gets more speed to his Moonlight hook, more than doubling the speed of that. So that's pretty crazy. And then an increase to the duration of Hand of Khonshu from 3.5 seconds to 4.5 seconds. And an increase to the number of talons generated during the period from 14 to 18. Additionally, the fall speed of the talons has been slightly enhanced. A new damage fall-off mechanic from the spell field has been added, beginning at 1.5 meters from the center and reaching a maximum reduction of 70% at 5 meters. So, big
That's
changes.
going to be a tough ult. Yeah. That's going to make him a force. You know, he was a force. They kind of nerfed him a little bit at one point, right? Or you know, maybe bug fixed him a little bit. Did they ever fix that bug?
Yeah. The bug fix was the season 1.5 change.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I feel like they just really want him to be a go-to character. Like it's got to be, because I mean they're doing everything that they could possibly do, I feel like, here to make him stronger and more viable in every way, when he's already pretty prevalent in most of the matches that I see, at least, like kind of like mid to low ELOs.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of Moon Knight. I think just the primary fire speed increase is a huge change for him to be able to deal with some of the flyers, especially. So, all right, let's talk about some of these strategists, and then we'll get out of here. So Adam Warlock is getting a really unexplainable change to me. Increase the cooldown of Soul Bond from 30 seconds to 40 seconds. That's astonishing, dude. To have just a regular cooldown ability on a 40-second timer is nuts.
Yeah. I mean, most people must be making a lot of moves with it. I don't ever feel like I really see it, but maybe that's just me. Yeah, that's a long ass time to not have an ability.
Yeah, and then Karmic Revival is now going to restore 30% of a fallen ally's maximum health instead of a fixed 100 health. So that's an adjustment that's going to help tanks and hurt some DPS.
Yeah, I feel like that's got to hurt like all DPS, honestly, because I mean that's gonna, instead of 100, that's gonna be what, like 80, 70 for something like that. I'm not a mathematician, but
yeah, 90 for 300 characters. So yeah, it'll be for most DPS it'll be lower, but yeah, I mean, yeah, those are weird adjustments to Adam Warlock. I don't know what. I think Adam Warlock's design is so cool, but I just think like they're gonna have to do something with his kit in the long run. If Soul Bond has to be on a 40-second cooldown for it to be balanced, then Soul Bond just shouldn't be a thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Cloak and Dagger. After activating Eternal Bond, the duration of the first 3 healing zones will no longer be calculated separately. Instead, they will remain active until the duration of the final healing zone ends, at which point all will be removed together. Love this change. It's, a small buff to Cloak and Dagger, but basically the first proc of her ult will now last until the end of the last proc of her ult. So no more of the which one of these did you throw down first? I ulted the left side of the cart first, so stick to the right side.
Honestly, I didn't even realize that was a thing. as a long time cloak, as a lured cloak and dagger. I did not really realize, because of course, like, you drop the ult and then you're just trying to stay in it, and usually you're staying in it close to where you left off. So I don't feel like I ever run into that problem. But this is definitely a welcome change that I didn't know I needed, because it just makes sense. I like that they phrased it. We're improving the logic of the ability, because yeah, it just makes sense to, like, just let the ult last until it's over, right? I don't know.
Yeah. Loki getting another ridiculous cooldown for a regular ability. His regeneration domain is going from 25 to 30 seconds. Again, why do we have characters in this game with 30-second cooldowns? Change the ability, right? Like, all right, let's talk about Rocket Raccoon, because he's getting some major changes. Decreasing the healing area of repair mode spheres from 70 to 50 health, but adds a new effect of one-time healing of 55 health to allies hit. Projectile speed reduction increased from 4.5 meters per second to 7 meters per second. So, Rocket Raccoon is going to be getting some burst heals. I got to see this in play a little bit, Seth. It looks pretty good. Rocket Raccoon is going to be a force in this next patch. He's going to be a meta healer. All right, and then extend the cooldown of for jetpack dash from 6 seconds to 10 seconds. Reduce the dash distance from 10 meters to 8 meters. So some nerfs to his mobility, and then reduce his ultimate ability damage boost from 40 to 25%. But he finally gets a fucking support ult, all right? Because during the ability's duration, the linked allies will receive an additional 100 bonus health points per second, capping at 150. And after breaking the link, the bonus starts to fall off after 1 second at a rate of 75 per second. So,
that's all good. I like that a lot, and I think it's very well balanced. You see most rockets, they're either all DPS or they're all heals, no in between. You see them, they just shoot a bunch of healing bubbles, they jet away so they can't die. You see them, they'll be like 2-0, and have done 20 damage and 80,000 healing. I feel like this will kind of, they're improving his healing, which is awesome. I don't even know that it's needed, but they're improving his healing. But they're also kind of like reducing his survivability a little bit in the moment-to-moment gameplay, and I think that's kind of needed to make him more balanced, and maybe that'll kind of like increase some opportunities for people to play him with a little bit of damage in there too.
Well, and I think they're increasing the quality of his healing, right? Because so much of Rocket's healing is like, I'm healing
slow. It's like tennis in slow motion. They're bouncing around. So maybe since those balls are going to speed up and really get the balls flowing, maybe you can spend a little bit more time shooting the bullets out of your gun instead of just the slow tennis balls. Is that what you're going for?
Well, that, and just the fact that I'm getting 55 health instantly on hit rather than me getting 55 health slowly as the ball starts to pass, like, that's so much more quality healing in that instance, right? So
true.
So much of Rocket's healing is like fights over, you're restoring the 25 health missing from this 750 tank, right? Like, and it just stacks up over time. But yeah, now I can stop feeling like my team is missing an impactful ult because of the changes to this ult. All right, let's really quickly these new team ups. So the Arcane Order we already talked about. Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch. Strange gets more health. Scarlet Witch gets burst damage. The Stars Align, that's Captain America and Winter Soldier. And then the Emma Frost team up we didn't talk about. So her team up is with Psylocke and Magneto. So Magneto gets taken out of the Scarlet Witch, and Psylocke gets taken out of the Black Panther Magic team up. And so Emma Frost will get a maximum health increase to 100. Magneto receives the magnetic resonance ability through his team up with Emma Frost, so he gets like a second projection of himself that mirrors everything that he does other than his ultimate. And then Psylocke receives the Soul Resurgence ability through her team up with Emma Frost, which I think does the same thing. I think she gets a second projection of herself. So
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I mean, that seems pretty. I'm gonna miss that sword. I like that sword. It
yeah,
just feels good. But this could be cool too. It's just gonna take some getting used to.
yeah. Namor's getting taken out of Chilling Charisma, and Winter Soldier's getting taken out of Ammo Overlord with Rocket Raccoon. Um, like I said, Psylocke's getting taken out of Dimensional Shortcut. And then Gamma Charge, Namor is getting added to this, and so he won't have the buffed Monstro with Luna Snow anymore. Instead, if he's paired up with Hulk, he is going to get the Gamma Monstro, so he will get a buffed Monstro from that. And then the Voltaic Union with Thor, Captain America, and Storm. The team up anchor effect for Thor has been removed, along with the Voltaic Union team up. Captain America loses the charged Aegis ability from his team up with Thor, and Storm loses the charged Gale ability gained from her team up with Thor. So those are all the changes that are coming in season 2. Seth, lots of changes. How are you feeling going into season 2? If you had to pick one thing you were most excited about with season 2 to wrap up this jam-packed episode? What would you say you're most excited about?
I'm honest. I'm excited just for the new season. I'm excited. And me personally, I like the chase of the new stuff and the new things, kind of getting rewards for your minute-to-minute gameplay. I love the battle pass chase, especially when it's not just not just sprays and stuff like that. That's a big part of it, but I like the kind of balance of skins, and I like it all. I'm excited about that, and kind of just like the freshness added to the game as far as the map and the new story content, the new gameplay. I'm just kind of excited at the idea of newness. I think I'm most hesitant about losing these team ups. I feel like I'm gonna kind of like 1.5 need a little break from comp, just to kind of get used to the game again and see how everything changes. Maybe take a week or two off before getting back in, but who knows? I said that last time, and I think I lasted 2 days before I was jumping in comp with the thing and just wrecking heads.
I think I'm most excited to install a mod where all of the enemy characters are just 3D models of me as I run around as Emma Frost choke slamming myself all around the
Mm-hmm.
map. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I'm most excited for. So no, I think I'm most excited for wait, stop. Dude. I don't know what I'm most excited, dude. I'll tell you what I'm not most excited for. These Penny Parker changes.
Oh yeah, that's something to dread.
I'm not excited about getting a headshot by a fucking cluster mine. But no, I think I think I'm most excited about Emma Frost. I think her design's really cool. And yeah, I'm excited about going back to tank and getting good with my tanks again, like I used to be in Overwatch. So, all right, man. Well, let's get out of here. What are your goals in Rivals this week as we head into season 2?
So I'm just going to set the one goal. I'm going to try in these 2 days very hard to get, well, not very hard. I'm going to try a little to get that GM to just get that one level higher from Diamond 1 up to GM. And if not, I'm not going to be heartbroken about it. It is what it is,
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna try to finish my my bundle, whatever it's called. Sorry, my dog's barking and biting my hand while I'm trying to keep him quiet. But yeah, yeah, my bundle and maybe get my Mantis Lord. And yeah, but anyway, that's gonna do it for this week. I'm gonna wrap us up because my dog's freaking out for some reason and I can't do anything about it. But this has been Rival Banter. We'll see you guys next week for our thoughts on season 2 live in action, and then here in a couple weeks we'll be ready to do our official tier list and all that sort of stuff. So the wheels of content roll on. But Seth, thanks for hanging out with me this week. If you've been listening to us, thanks for hanging out with us this week, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Hell yeah, baby. Goodbye.